Can't underestimate that. Wafa? Sa.
Yeah, I just wanted to address the comments that I was making on Priya's page this about 2 days ago or something, maybe yesterday. When we have the background knowledge and information about how people are conducting themselves, this is why sometimes you may see statements that seem a little harsh. But it's just like when you're trying to tell people about the SF way, we need a solution, we need a solution. Well, here's the SF way, but we need a solution. Well, you know, black has no standing in law, but we need a solution. And a lot of times the ones that we're helping, they're acting the same way. And so at some point, it's like they just have to get called out on it, because what they're trying to do is make this something that is a shield for them in their personal life, and they're drawing energy from people to see them in a certain way when they're not living that, they're not walking that walk, they're not taking in the remedy and solutions, they're not accepting the parts that they've played, they're not following through on the instructions that the chief has given them. And nobody knows the countless hours of counsel that chief is giving to different individuals, because as much as you thumbsing up and doing whatever you're doing, it's a drop in the bucket to the time, energy, and effort that the chief is putting into things. And when he sees them still not solving their own problems, well, you acted like a black person. It's as simple as that. It's no two ways about it. And so I know that Satepamra, when you go out and you do your things, you're looking indigenous all the time. We can't say the same thing about Priya Marchand. If Chief hadn't said anything about her picture, it would still be there. So she doesn't know what to do herself, yet she's claiming deities only. Where are you getting this talk from? Who told you white power? You know, when Marchand got out, he was facing 15 years in prison. Chief was helping her for almost 2 years straight. She offered nothing in return. And then he gets out, he calls one time, and that's it. That's not beautiful people to me.
It was twice.
Twice.
Yeah, I spoke with Marchand twice.
So it sounds like ungrateful people that are trying to use this information to get back whatever it is that they've lost. You can't be doing things that are wrong or against the law. You don't want to create controversies from not abiding by the rules, quote unquote. You want to be proactive in a way that you're attacking the system. You don't want to have to be in a reactive position. You want to be in a attack mode. Everything in your declaration and claim is a reason to be in attack mode. You don't want to have to be responding to other dumb stuff, you know. And like, it seems like the ones where people have lost their children, they're just in a very desperate state of mind, and that's understandable. However, there are real reasons and situations and decisions that led to those children not being with them. And now when you see the way they're still acting, you see why their children are not with them. So then at a certain point, you don't have that extension of sympathy. It's like you're just choosing to make these continuous errors, just like a woman in an abusive relationship. After a certain point, you're like, well, this is what you want. This is what you're comfortable with. You don't want to leave it. Same thing with black people. You keep getting shot. All you got to do is stop calling yourself black. So I rarely get that way with people, but Anacaona is another one that is just too feisty for her own good, is the best way to put it. And she's not outing her mother. And that one thing is the piece of the puzzle that could change everything, or could have changed everything for her, and she's not doing it. Like I said, Satepamra, I remember that 7-day communication when you offered that, and she didn't say anything, and I felt bad for you, and that's why I spoke up and said something to like bring it back to a point of this is something real that someone just offered. So it's the first time she turned down a spiritual gift. The second time she's turned down a spiritual gift was here recently when someone offered to, all expense paid, take her to Africa to do spiritual work to help her get her children back. Did she go? No.
Stop. Say that again.
Someone offered.
Be detailed and to go slow.
Okay. It's to the best of my knowledge of the details, recollection of the details. There was a man who was associated with some group that wanted to assist her in getting her sons back by doing spiritual work. And he offered to fly her to Africa, all expense paid, round trip tickets.
For how long?
Was it like a week or a month?
No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. She wouldn't have to pay anything while she was there. Do all the spiritual work to assist her.
And I'm gonna interject again. And the individual who did this said, you're gonna have to do this. Otherwise, this with your sons is not gonna stop. I have the emails. So I said, what are you going to do? I'm not making the decision. I'm like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, you get to go from Netherlands to Africa, do a spiritual ritual. You ain't got to pay for nothing? I said, whoa, that is a blessing. Continue.
And so she was just scared to go. You know, that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Anybody offering to send you on a trip free of charge, but most importantly for the sole purpose of taking this to the spirit realm. So when she turns down things like that and then posts pictures of doing Santeria, something that the chief told her to do a year ago, we're not impressed. You should have done that a year ago. Then here comes another blessing. You turn it down. Now when you finally get to the point where like, okay, well, let me go to the spirit realm.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard it stop.
Yeah.
I heard you stop. So
yeah, it's just like, it's just not, we're not impressed with that. It's like, I don't know if anybody's realized, but the chief's standards are high. And if you're not meeting it, then you're just not. I don't know. Do you have to work harder? You have to do what's required. All the notice, we've given all the notice about what and how to conduct yourself, from the caveat to the now time screensaver to the indigenous standing process to how UCC training works. And a lot of times I know that people have not read that, because the majority of questions I always get is already answered in those documents. But more than that, the part about adapting and integrating new information and just being ready to publish it, that's the biggest thing. This field trip, that's an excellent exercise. Ahmed, Anu, they did it, because you can't just have Chief being the one person saying something. Like, we're not the, church, we're not the pastor and the first lady of the church. That's not who we are, and I'm going to again make a distinction. There's 4 people on right now who are members of ACCUSATIONS. Everybody else is supporting ACCUSATIONS. So I just like to make that distinction, because there is an application process for joining our nation. There was something else I wanted to mention. So yeah, to be safe, watch and see what Chief is thumbsing up. If Chief is thumbsing something up and I'm thumbsing something up, then that person is okay. If you can see that they're friends but he's not thumbsing it up, that person is likely not deserving of your energy.
Good?
Yep.
Got that off your chest?
I had to.
No, I'm just
I
asking.
don't like anybody, you know.
I said, no, I'm just clearing my throat.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's usually the ones that get away with that are just not offering anything in return either. That's just, it's like that's how Black operates.
Well,
Okay, so I'm going to show this 1-minute clip here. This is what Priya sent me. Now, they had a visit with the, this is their children, and they had a visit back in 2017 in October. I didn't find out about this till when? When did she send me this email? She sent me the email, let's see, published April 6th. So that was sometime this month earlier, or probably the end of March, that she let me know. And I said, hey, if you had these recorded, you should have had these up on the internet. So as you can see from the publishing date, it says April 6th. This says October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months that she never published it. So now the question is, it's contention, you know, you could contend whether this actually was the case, but obviously this is true because of the reaction of his daughter.
I love it. I love it. Daddy made y'all some.
All right, so you can't say indigenous rights and you're dressed up in a t-shirt and sweatpants. Now, he may have just been got out, but you got to have something to distinguish yourself.
Now you can see the new game on my phone.
Yeah, hold on. Daddy made y'all some food. You got to cook this one.
See my new game.
Yeah. I said, let me surprise him and tell him Daddy go get the food in. Yes. So you remember your dad, Binker Bud? Yes. He said, what? Huh? Yeah.
Okay, so I want everybody now pay close attention. Everyone thinks I'm not everybody. I say this for a reason. These people are looking for any excuse to fight you on your indigenousness. And if you become laissez-faire about it, they're not gonna respect you. So as you can see here on this one, the woman is standing there by the door, and so because she's supervising the visits. Right? So the woman is standing there, and so she's looking at the family. The documentation that they put up into court is talking about indigenous rights. So she's standing there looking at the father in a t-shirt and a sweatpants. No beads, bracelets, something. If you had to run to Michael's and spend $2 to get some wooden beads, something to distinguish yourself as being indigenous. So they are that whole 6 months. They're watching the parents, and the parents are not demonstrating that they're indigenous. They're like, okay, they're just saying indigenous as a knee-jerk reaction. So they'll sit there, okay, yeah, then watch, observe the parents. Did you see anything? Because their supervisor will ask them, were they wearing anything? Did they have any feathers, anything that was distinguishing them? And they'll say no. Okay, so they're Negroes. They'll do that privately on a private contract. So then when they went to court, I guess after this date on March 20th, that's when stuff got heated. Now you're seeing them screaming bloody murder. And I'm like, you sat on this videotape and didn't publish it. And when you go there, the presentation you're making to them, you don't look indigenous. You look like a bunch of Negroes from the
You want to go home, Mommy? Yeah, we know you want to go home. Say hi to the camera, fat boy. Give me a kiss. Happy time, sir. I'm going to book you. Happy time, I'm going to book you. Say hi. Take him go home. You go home.
I want to see.
It's okay. Mommy got it. Mommy bring it back next time.
No, I want to see a picture.
It's not a picture. It's recording. See? She's looking like, what kind of recording?
See, you can't be going out with no hoodies and no sweatshirts. That is unacceptable. So I want everybody to be aware of that. Yes. Go ahead. Somebody was saying something?
Me, yeah. And remember when Marshawn was scared to even do an SF-181, and then he only did it because he was about to get rolled on?
Yeah, because he had a warrant.
Yeah, because he had a warrant. So again, these things are not a quick fix solution. You have to live this all the time. When Priya changed her picture and posted her flag, one of her girlfriends was like, girl, what's this? So obviously none of the people she even knows she's indigenous, or at least that girl didn't. So, you know, these are the things that just, you know, we have to constantly distinguish ourselves from the riffraff. That's why it's not even easy to go through our indigenous standing process anymore. Everyone that did our process did claim their indigenous standing before 2016. It's not the same. So there are at least 3 or 4 hurdles to go through before they get the indigenous standing process with the templates and everything in it. We're cutting out the riffraff for this reason, and the instructions are enough to that I mentioned in all of those documents before, are enough to start teaching everyone how to be conducting themselves and what they need to be doing, so that chief isn't the only one saying something. So it can fair to say that anyone on these 7-day communications and on training are the cream of the crop. And then, of course, Cacica is a whole nother level. So, yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say.
Much appreciated. So when I get on people about the presentation, especially when you're dealing with agencies, it is absolutely imperative that you present yourself appropriately. Failure to do that, they're going to have their own private contracts regarding how they're going to deal with you. So I just want for all of you who, you know, were making comments in support, like, you know, the Priya and Marshawn being attacked, and it isn't anything like that. If I didn't say anything, her old picture of her in a mini skirt would still be up there on Facebook. All right, so I just want everyone to keep that in mind. Katora, you had your hand up.